Hello, Namaskar. I'm your host Lokesh Nathani, welcoming you all at the 16th episode of FlexiSTRONG Talks. Life often comes with events and challenges. To make the most of these events and to overcome challenges, we need both flexibility and strength. Flexibility to readjust and strength to overcome and not give up. Our objective at FlexiSTRONG Talks has always been to invite speakers who have demonstrated both flexibility and strength in their lives. Our speaker for the day has demonstrated, अगर सोच लिया है तो मुमकिन है. Our very special guest for this evening is Miss Shivani Agarwalla. Shivani is an international kettlebell athlete, a practicing chartered accountant, a mother, a wife, and a wonderful person. She is the first Indian woman to become the world champion in kettlebell sports, and not just once, not just twice, but 5 times. She is a renowned chartered accountant and have delivered over 250 sessions in indirect taxation across the country. Shivani has received many awards and appreciation, and the biggest them all is when her father received an appreciation letter from none other than our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, acknowledging her effort by winning gold for the country. So friends, please join me to welcome the super achiever, World Kettlebell Champion, and a wonderful human being, Miss Shivani Agarwalla.
It all started with a quest to lose postpartum weight. From being someone who's never participated in a single sports event back in school or college to representing the country and getting gold. Hello friends, this is Shivani Agarwalla, a proud mother, a practicing chartered accountant, and an international kettlebell athlete. I had the fortune of representing India and becoming India's first and only 5-time woman world champion, getting my first gold at Uzbekistan in 2018, followed by Australia 2019, France 2021, Greece 2022, and very recently at New Delhi in 2022. For the uninitiated, kettlebell is a European sport. It is a repetitive weightlifting sport which is now gaining momentum in India as a very competitive sport. You have to lift the kettlebell in timed formats in a specified variation. So how did all of this happen for someone who's never participated in sports to going to represent the country in a sporting event? Well, yes, it has been a journey of sorts. Well, to begin with, I'm a child of the 1980s. We were the first to play on the roads. We were the last to record songs on the cassettes. We were the pioneers of chat rooms and Walkmans. We never had flat screens or Facebook, Instagram, but we were very happy. As a Marwari child, growing up in a family with 35 people and a common kitchen, I learned many lessons early on in life. With so many people thriving under the same roof, I believe resilience, adjustment, sacrifice was a way of life for us. And I realized one thing very early on, that while there may not be any way to be a perfect human, you will find a million ways to be a good one. When I saw my father and his brothers run their businesses through their ups and downs, I realized that life will always offer you 2 choices, faith and fear. And they both want you to believe in something that you don't see. As a growing up child, I'm very glad I always chose faith over fear. I qualified chartered accountancy fairly young at the age of 22. And a lot of hard work, discipline, resilience that a chartered accountancy course requires became a way of life for me. And I also feel that laid the very foundation of the individual, the mother, the wife, the chartered accountant, and the athlete I am. Fast forward to 2009, I got married to the love of my life, Mayank, a Marwari boy, a tea planter by profession. I thought I would have to follow suit. His work keeps him in Assam, and my work kept me in Calcutta. I shifted base to Assam. For some reasons, my practice as a chartered accountant plummeted back in Assam. Standing tall against all societal norms, me and him decided that while his work keeps him in Assam, I should shift base back to Kolkata. Friends, my marriage is a marriage of equals, where both Mayank and me take decisions together, be it the financial activities, be it the household chores. There are no gender biases, and that is the beauty of this marriage. 2009, I became a mother. Now, motherhood came with no instructions. And that is, I believe, the turning point in my life. When I looked at my son, I wanted to be the best parent to him. But then I realized that rather than raising him, it is me who I need to raise. How could I pour from an empty vessel? How could I be a happy mother if I'm not an happy individual? And that set the stepping stone into my foray into athletics. Postpartum, I carried a lot of weight, and my husband inspired me to join the gym. Well, let me begin by confessing that I've been someone who had never been to the gym before. Now imagine the plight of this girl who's never been to the gym, having to go to the gym. Well, they say it takes a village to raise a child. In my case, I was the village. With an ever-traveling husband and a nuclear setup, the pressures of chartered accountancy practice, fitness was nowhere on the radar. And I realized that this gym is not working for me. But Lady Luck shined my way. And then at the gym, I met my mentor and my coach, Mr. Arnab Sarkar, who introduced me to the beautiful equipment of kettlebells. While we were pursuing kettlebell lifting just with the idea to lose weight and to stay fit. And then I called it quits because that is the time management I could not do. But then Lady Luck shined again my way, and one fine morning in 2016, he gave me a call that I should pursue kettlebell as a sport. I started lifting the bells yet again. And in 2017, he sent me to Malaysia for the Asian Championship. Now imagine for a girl who's never been into sports, traveling abroad alone for a sports activity. It almost felt like sacrilege to many. And for a while, it also made me realize that perhaps mothers should not lift anything but babies. But I did it. And I went to create history in 2018 when I became India's first woman world champion in kettlebell sports. So this has been my journey. But how did it all happen? Was it some divine intervention? Was it magic? What was it? If I look at my journey, I always say, like a car which moves on 4 wheels, my life moves on 4 wheels. Now imagine what would happen to a car which is a 4-wheeler, and if any one of the wheels went flat. Likewise, I decided that my life, my car, should move on 4 stable and sturdy wheels. A, my professional life. B, my family life. C, my social life. And most importantly, my personal life. Well, I qualified chartered accountancy at 2005 while I was just 22. I got my first job at PricewaterhouseCoopers. Back in those days, I did not even know how to boot a laptop. And I was given this enormous assignment to work on Excel. God help me, but I swear I did not know how to operate MS Office. I used to come back teary-eyed every evening back home, not knowing what to do with my career. But I realized one thing, that there was no magic to achievement. It's all about the hard work, the resilience, and the choices you make. I called it quits, and with the help of a very supportive set of parents, in 2008, I started my entrepreneurial journey into bringing up Shivani Shah and Associates, indirect tax practitioners. And as I stand here tall before all of you, let me tell you that we are leading indirect tax practitioners in Eastern India. I'm the National Faculty for Indirect Taxation for the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And that comprises my professional wheel of life. I get to interact with the best brains in the country, and hence the first wheel of my life, The professional wheel of life is sturdy, stable, and strong. Moving on, the family life. Well, I am a very proud mother, daughter, and a wife. The only set of people I want to go back to and make them the most proud is my husband, my child, and my parents. And they comprise my family. Well, I already mentioned between me and my husband, we have a marriage of equal partnership. But it's not always been easy. His work keeps him in Assam, and my work keeps me in Calcutta. There's a lot of sacrifice, hard work, and adjustment that goes our way. We are still working on it, and believe me, the family wheel of life comprises the most important wheel of life. So that takes care of my family life, my social life. Well, that's one wheel of life I need to work a little more on. But yes, my limited interaction with my friends, my extended family make for a reasonably alright social life. And then comes the most important wheel of my life, which is my personal wheel of life. Well, cooking a good meal, going out for a date with my husband, saving a ton of taxes for my clients. Will that be my personal wheel of life? No. I was lost in Wonderland for the longest. So back in 2015, when I delivered my son, I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought to myself, what is my mojo? What is it that makes me intrinsically happy? I was well established as a chartered accountant. I had a great family to support me. My extended friends, my family were always there for me. But what is it that brings me an innate sense of happiness? And that led me to my journey to find my personal life. While reading, I came across this one concept of being in the 1 percentile list. That whatever you do, friends, it may be just whatever. Try and be in the top 1% of something. And when you do that, you achieve a certain sense of mastery on your thoughts. And that brings in a sense of discipline, which helps you achieve a lot of other endeavors in life. And that kind of stayed back with me. So while I was still discovering my love for kettlebells, and as I said, one of the most important people who's played a very vital role in my journey has been my coach and my mentor, Mr. Arnab Sarkar. Let me tell you a little about mentorship. Well, as a child of the 1980s, we were very satiated with what we had. We were given to understand that gay was another word for being happy and lesbian was the capital of Portugal. We indeed belonged to that generation. And then I chanced upon my mentor, Mr. Arnab Sarkar, who taught me that what is the point in living if you don't try and do at least one thing remarkable in your lifespan. And friends, you know what? I then realized that you get a living by what you get. You get a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give. And that is exactly what mentors do. And that is what my mentor, Mr. Arnab Sarkar, did for me. He paved the way for me and showed me that no dreams are big enough if you're hardworking, if you're resilient, and you've got the attitude to go and get it. So whichever stage of life you are in, friends, at whatever age, always remember that a mentor can make a world of difference. If you've not found your mentor, try and find yours right away. The second thing, I've spoken consistently about a sense of discipline. Warren Buffett once said that you need not be more remarkable than the others. You just need to be a little more disciplined than the others. So in my case, I always tell my child that I'm a living example where hard work beats talent. I had no sporting genes. If I look back at my childhood, I can't recollect a single memory of any sporting event. And that told me that if today, at the ripe age of 33, when I started lifting kettlebells and representing the country, that every dream is achievable. You just got to be more disciplined than the rest. And I always believe in one thing, what Bruce Lee says, that long-term consistency over short-term intensity. So while I got my first gold at Uzbekistan in 2018, followed by Australia and then France and Greece, everyone keeps telling me that how do you do it? Don't you get tired? And I always tell them one thing, that if you are persistent, you will get it. And if you are consistent, you shall keep it. Let me relate a small anecdote to you, which was actually narrated to me by my son. In a very beautiful museum back in Italy, there was a conversation between a beautiful marble tile and a statue. So the tile tells the statue that, hey buddy, why is it that each and every visitor who comes to this enormous studio and this is always looking at you in awe? They love your beauty and they have 100 things to talk about you. But why is it that no one even looks back at me? The statue thought for a while and said, but hey buddy, aren't me and you from the same cave? And the tile said, exactly yes, but why this difference? And then the statue said, you remember there was a sculptor who was trying to work on both you and me? While you despised that guy, I was the one who chose to allow him to work on me. Everything in life, buddies, has a price. And that is where I learned from my son that at whatever stage in life you are, every season serves a purpose. And life, through its good and the bad experiences, is the sculptor. In my story, I chose to be the statue. Choose what you want to be, the statue or the tile. Talking about discipline and consistency and mentorship, another one thing that has always kept me going is time. A lot of people mistake this for multitasking. I don't think so. There is anything called multitasking. These are actually chains of gold, because there is nothing called multitasking that actually exists for me. It's always about managing your time. And it's actually never about having time. It's always about making time. If it's on your list of priorities, you will always land up doing it. And then when I look back at my journey and I think to myself that other than the fact that I had a good mentor on me, I had a lot of family support my way, I was consistent, I never shunned away from a sense of hard work and discipline. What else helped me? I cannot deny that in today's age and time, there are a lot of pressures, especially if you're a parent in a nuclear setup. With a chartered accountancy practice moving north, many a times I think to myself that is it what I'm meant for? I mean, why am I doing so much? And then I chanced upon this concept of decluttering, the Japanese art of decluttering. And you know, what does it say? It says that when you are choosing to keep something, ask your heart. When you're choosing where to store, ask your house. That start decluttering, that whatever you feel is not required, do not let that be a part of your mind space. The concept of decluttering is actually a concept of cleaning up, that you start cleaning up by categories rather than space. It seems like it's a very simple concept that even probably a child could do it, but believe me, it's a mindset. Even after you clean a space, after a few minutes, it's an organized mess. But if you start decluttering and apply this philosophy of cleaning to your own life, you'll see how your life starts unfolding and you can experience sheer magic. And once I started decluttering, I also started realizing who am I? Otherwise, a girl with absolutely no background in fitness, how would she land up representing the country for a sporting event? I was given to understand that I had athletic genes in me only at the ripe age of 33, and I'm 40 today. Now imagine how would this be possible? As the Delphic maxim goes, that know thyself. While we are out there understanding the world, understanding things around us, friends, I feel the most important part of your life is to know yourself. Because once you know yourself, you can know the world. And that is my journey, friends. From being someone who's never participated in a single sports event back in school, then on a quest to lose postpartum weight, to representing the country and getting gold. Now, I got my eureka moment last year in March on the 28th, when the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, sent a handwritten letter to my father acknowledging my efforts as an athlete, a parent, and a chartered accountant. I've had achievements so many in my life, but this was truly, truly special. And when someone asks me that, Shivani, what would be the last few thoughts you have for us? Today, when I look back at my journey, I say one thing to everyone, that always have someone to look up to, have someone to look forward to, and always have someone to chase. I'm blessed with opportunities which were in no human hand, and thank you, God, for that. And that made me realize that gratitude reciprocates. After a long day of work, the only people I want to go back to and make them the most proud of me is my family. And those are the people I look forward to. When I was 20, someone asked me, "Hey Shivani, who is your hero?" I thought for a while and I said that let me think this over. The person got back to me in a couple of days and asked me, "Who's your hero?" I said my hero is about 10 years away. At 30, the person came back to me and asked me, "Who's your hero?" I said, I'm still chasing my hero. As I stand tall before all of you today, at 40, as an international kettlebell athlete, a chartered accountant, a proud mother, I'm still chasing my hero. Hence, every year, every day of the year, and every hour of the day, friends, always have someone to look up to, always have someone to look forward to, and always have someone to chase. And as Abraham Lincoln rightly said, that the best way to predict future is to create it. And a few lines as I part, लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। नन्ही चींटी जब दाना लेकर चढ़ती है, चढ़ती दीवारों पर 100 बार फिसलती है। मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस भरता है, चढ़कर गिरना, गिरकर चढ़ना ना अखरता है। आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। साइनिंग ऑफ, शिवानी अग्रवाला। जय हिंद।
Friends, you just heard Shivani talking about a very inspiring journey, a journey as a mother, as a wife, as a chartered accountant and a world champion. Not very easy, I am sure, playing so many roles. Shivani, aapne, you said that you started to excel in sports and, the role of mentor is very, very
Right.
easy, very, very important. And you also said that you have never been into any kind of sports all
None
your
at
life.
all, not even march past back in school.
So when was that moment when you felt that I think this is for me as well?
So, this is where hard work beats talent. Coming from a complete no fitness background to representing the country, traveling abroad for a sports event, it almost felt sacrilege to a lot of people in my family. And for a while, even I thought that I'm not meant for this. But again, I'd like to put forth the immense contribution of my mentor. He probably was living his dreams through me. I don't know, there was a spark he saw in me. This was somewhere in 2016 when I first hit the gym. I had to call it quits because the pressures of raising a child in a nuclear family, my chartered accountancy practice, I realized fitness is not on my radar. But I don't know, in those few weeks that I was with him, he discovered something about me and he knocked my door again. And that's when we started our journey into fitness. For a while, I thought I was doing this only to lose weight, and I did not know that he had some other plans in mind. So I believe the first time in Malaysia when I traveled, this was in 2017 for a sports event where I took my brother as my bodyguard. That's where I got the first taste of success as a sports person. I got the Best Lifters Award. And this was followed by Uzbekistan, where I became India's first female woman world champion. And I still have very vivid recollection that when I was leaving for Uzbekistan, my husband said, "Get gold." And I was like, forget it, it's not happening, he's pulling my leg. And I got gold. So I think that was my eureka moment. And ever since then, there's honestly been no looking back.
Right. So you spoke about the role of the mentor or a coach.
Yes.
Now, having mentor or coach is one thing. At times, especially when you start to achieve some success, chances are that you may develop some conflict with the mentor. You may feel that, nahi, mujhe मालूम है मुझे क्या करना है. So, and this is where I think the growth also stops. But in your case, as we see, it's only going one way, which is up. So were there such moments there where, you had differences with your mentor and you felt like I can do it now? Or what is your message? Because all of us go through these emotions as we, move forward in life.
Right. For starters, I'd say at whatever age, at whichever stage in your career or your life you are, find yourself a mentor. And to answer your question, Lokesh, I'd say that there have been moments where I've been in self-doubt. But the one thing that I always believe in, whether it's a mentor in terms of the coach I have or any other mentor I may have, it's like, as Peter Drucker once said, that there's nothing as inefficient as doing something efficiently, that which should not be done at all. I'll repeat. There is nothing as inefficient as doing something efficiently, that which should not be done at all. When I have someone who takes care of all the strategies and the plans, and I know who's got the best of my interest in his mind, there's no reason that I should ever be in doubt about him. There are discussions, there are many a times I falter, and he always shows me the right path. But he always tells me, my coach, Mr. Arnab Sarkar, that I can only show you the way, but it's you who's got to travel that path. And I also would like to mention the immense contribution and the critique of the husband that I have, who always tells me, you've been a 5-time world champion, but leave it at the door and now start preparing for the next one. So I think that heart high and humble, that's the key to it.
So moving on, we'll rewind a little bit.
Right.
And you said that never done any sports in your school, college
Absolute
life.
honest confession.
And at the very young age of 22, you became a chartered accountant,
Right.
and you started your journey, and then suddenly, you delivered Lavik.
Right.
I hope I get that right. Now, post the delivery, postpartum weight is something which is quite a challenge mentally for many
Absolutely.
women. I'm sure you also must have gone through it. So what was that moment or beginning where you said, it's okay, I think I need to only deal with this and let me
Absolutely.
start working on it.
Right.
So what was the motivation there?
See, I personally feel that staying always motivated is a very tall ask. You always have to create an environment around you that helps you be motivated. Now, I'll give you a small example. If you're thirsty, you have a glass of water. When winters set in, you realize that your intake of water has come down. So if you start keeping bottles of water at your workspace, at your home, or in the car, you realize that your intake of water increases. At the end of the day, everything is got to do with the environment. I realized early on in life, postpartum, which is while I was 32, that fitness, a fit mind and a fit body go hand in hand. And if I don't have a fit body, I would not get a fit mind. It was a completely nuclear setup, and obviously the challenges of parenting are much graver and bigger. And I realized that I can't be a good parent if I'm not a happy parent. And to be a happy parent, I need to be a fit parent. And my husband always tells me that the single biggest responsibility we as parents owe to our son is to be fit and healthy. So I think that is where the motivation came from. And as we talk, we are still on that journey. And I also feel that as parents, it's very important to lead by example. My son, who's 7 today, spends 3 hours outdoor with some sort of physical and fitness. And I think that is very important. Rather than sitting in the cozy comfort of your air-conditioned houses, go out, interact with your children, and go outdoor. And then you'll see that how the serotonin levels go up and how you feel excited about the entire thrill of being fit.
Your sport requires a lot of travel.
Right.
And overseas as well. So how easy it is to travel after marriage? So this is a question by Rakhi Parikh.
Okay.
She's saying how difficult it is to travel post marriage, and more so when you have a child as well. And
Okay.
to add to it, you have a long distance relationship for good part of the month, every month.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rakhi, for asking me that question. And Lokesh would know it's not as easy I'm making it sound, but it's always nicer to share the better part of your journey. I've always said, I'm a girl from a Marwari background, and honestly, there were a few societal conditionings that we grew up with. So traveling the first time abroad alone for a sports event, as I said, was sacrilege for many in the family, and I was made to take my brother as my bodyguard. Back in the day, even I was very naive, and I cannot deny that, he helped me around. And today, in 2023, while I prepare to travel to Uzbekistan again for the next World Championship, I need not take the help of anyone per se. So I think I've traveled a long way. There was a lot of mental conditioning which I had to begin with breaking my own self. As far as my husband is concerned, he always said that if you do justice to whatever you've picked up your way, I'm okay with that. And he told me one thing, that I'm not an ice cream seller. I need not make everyone happy. I ruffled a lot of people the wrong way because I broke a lot of societal norms and shackles. As I speak, there may be a lot of people around who may be so unhappy because I'm not leading by example of being that ideal wife, and let's not get into that territory. But I think that at the end of the day, if you are truthful to the journey that you've thought for your own self, and if you're just complete justice to what you're doing, I think it's completely all right. And as far as my son is concerned, it's been so that each time I've traveled, my husband has not been around because his work, as I said, keeps him in Assam. Lavik was 2 the first time I left for Malaysia. He's 7 today. He's seen about 5 world championships, and only he tells me one thing, Mama, get gold. And I think the very one important takeaway I'd like to give here is to build an ecosystem around you. You see, at my house, at my workspace, I told myself one thing, that even if I'm not there, things should move. So you have to invest in resources, and as someone rightly said, that failing to plan is planning to fail. So it's very important, A, to build an ecosystem around you who can help you achieve your targets, and also an environment where things get done even when you are not around. So even if I'm not in the country and with no one around me, my son still goes to school. During COVID times, he still used to submit all his homework on his own. And I think interdependence and independence, that's the way of life for all of us. When I say that, that means my husband, myself, and my son. Independence, yet interdependent.
People say that there's a myth. One of our attendees are asking that, is it true that fitness is a very costly and time-consuming endeavor? And is it really true? Is it really worth spending that kind of time and money for the fitness? So somewhere he is also saying that, you come from a background where resources was not a challenge. So for you, it was very, very easy. But what about people like us?
Okay. For starters, let me clear this myth that resources were not a challenge, but my chartered accountancy practice has kept me sailing. As I said, my husband is a very tough taskmaster, whether it be my fitness or my work. He's always motivated me to go the right path, and he said that you've got to fend for yourself. And I think that motivation has taken me a long, long way. So while resources were not a challenge, but whatever I've done, let me very proudly tell you, it's all been self-made. I tasted my first sense of entrepreneurship in 2008 when I started my practice. I was earning about 500 rupees a month, and to being India's leading tax practitioners in indirect taxation today, it's been a long and arduous journey. So coming back to your main question, is fitness being an expensive resource? Expensive activity. In fact, I'd say rather than expensive, treat it serious. Today, when you're going out for a birthday party or you're preparing your child for an examination, you'll not see that you've gone for a birthday party and you're not well dressed. Have you ever seen children go to school without a proper attire? They can't be possibly going in just a pair of boxers, right? So likewise, I'd say fitness is serious. Begin with making fitness a serious business. Get into your fitness gear. I see so many people who step out at 5 in the evening and they are on their phone, or they're just merrily talking to each other. जो ऑफिस में कपड़े थे उसी में आप निकल गए, नहीं. It's fitness is more a mindset. So A, invest in fitness gear. You've got a plenty resources around and you don't need to invest in many expensive products. Believe me, I still wear Decathlon shoes when I'm running, which cost me 1200 rupees and last me over a year. My t-shirts are not more than 300 rupees a t-shirt. So I think it's a myth that fitness takes a lot of money. As far as time, again, it brings me back to the concept of discipline. That if you have decided you need to dedicate about an hour to fitness, say in 2 days, it's up to you when you do it, but it has to be de rigor. It has to be like a ritual. It cannot be, "Arey yaar, abhi to man nahi kar raha hai, we'll do it tomorrow." So I'd like to express my understanding that fitness is serious business. It may not always be an expensive one.
You spoke about discipline, and you come from a Marwari family,
Yes.
which is supposedly a very foodie family.
Always.
Always, right? Food is always, I mean, I've seen my mom, the only thing she is always worried about it, khana and khana.
Right.
Now with this kind of background,
Right.
and I'm sure you were grown up with a lot of food around you,
Yes.
and then you got into sports. any specific sacrifices that you have to made of your favorite food and you crave for it and you have your cheat days?
Plenty. You know, I've been someone who, on a different note, Lokesh, let me tell you, I've been someone who's grown up watching Saas Bahu serials. I used to watch it till 11:30, 12, and then to getting married to someone who's not allowed me a television in the house. So likewise is the same story with food. I think Marwaris have this affinity for food where they express their love through food. And I belong to a family where if you're invited for a meal, you'll be asked not less than maybe about 10 to 15 times about food, and there'll always be someone serving food. So when I went off sugar and gluten, which was about 3 years back, it almost took my parents by surprise. I think surprise is still an understatement. They were appalled. They said, यही तो खा खा के बड़ी हुई हो और इतनी तो अच्छी बन गई, so अब क्यों आपको देना पड़ा? Well, I have my own reasons for giving up gluten and sugar, but it's been 3 long years. I've not put a morsel of gluten in my mouth, which means no pizzas, no burgers, not even biscuits. I'm someone who's grown up having masala chai with the Mary biscuit dipped in it to now not having any biscuits. I think I've come a long way, but it's always been about the choices you make in your life, and I think now it's a way of life for us. So it doesn't pinch now, but I think I'm also leading by example for my son. And in fact, if Lokesh wants to come for a cup of coffee to my house, I'll need to call up my cook to tell him कि भाई पास से किराने के शॉप से बिस्किट ले आना, कोई आ रहा है हमारे घर चाय पे. So that's the scene with us. But it's a way of life and we're enjoying this journey. And let me tell you, my parents and my entire extended family, I said I grew up in a family of 35 people with a common kitchen. Wherever I go, and that means wherever, there is gluten-free food prepared for me, and they don't find it a challenge because there are so many options available. So if you are going on the path of fitness, you know, you don't need big jargons, you need like to go on any sprint or you need a fat diet. All you need, as Lokesh said, start with 10,000 steps and eat as much food as is necessary. So I think when you keep eating food, you develop a very unhealthy relationship with food. So यहाँ पे आप एक ताला लगा लीजिए and बाकी जो भी खाते हैं अच्छे से खाइए, शांत से खाइए, Instagram scroll करते करते मत खाइए. And once you realize that you just have, say for example, 3 meals in a day and you start giving in that time and energy while eating food, you see your taste buds will get enhanced and you'll start enjoying your meal much more and you will be much more satiated at the end of the meal.
Now coming to last few questions. Uzbekistan won gold 2018. Many would have thought ki probably, you know, the beginner's luck.
Right.
And then you got 5 goals.
Right.
And now you're again going to Uzbekistan this year.
Yes, November this year.
So first time जब आपने जीता तो ऐसा कोई pressure नहीं था.
Not at all.
Right? You just went to enjoy the sport. Gold मिल गया. Now, when you're going to go this year, do you feel any kind of pressure? Because now there are expectations that you have set, you know, and how do you deal with it?
Well, pressures are definitely there. I'm someone who becomes a nervous wreck on the stage. So I resort to a lot of meditation and spirituality. And but I always feel that I'm my own competition. So I have my PR, and as long as I can get my PR, I think I'm happy. So obviously, the minute you land on a foreign soil and from the word go till the time you come back, you have a lot of calls, you have a lot of journalists, you have a lot of reporters calling you and finding out what has happened. But I believe the best way is to just black out everyone and concentrate. वो जैसे महाभारत में हमने देखा था ना, अर्जुन ने जब अपना निशाना लगाया था. So I think if you have your goal in mind and you make yourself your own competition, it helps. And I think a lot of meditation has helped me.
Somebody is asking, are there any lessons that you have learned from the sport that you use in your daily life?
Yes. I feel being a sports person has got a sense of discipline in me, and that discipline has helped me attain mastery in a lot of other endeavors in life. You know, bringing up a child in a nuclear family can be very challenging. I think the resilience and the hard work my sports taught me has made me a stronger parent, both mentally and physically. Also, sports teaches you very important life lessons, and one amongst them being leadership and how to be a team worker. So back at my chartered accountancy practice and office, I think the sports has taught me how to be a good leader and how to work in a team. And I think sports has taught me the true way of life, which is hard work, discipline, and resilience. So definitely it's helped me in a lot of endeavors in life.
So, before we sign off, Shivani, any last message that you want to give our viewers, which will help them probably find answers to, their roadblocks, their mind blocks, which is stopping them from probably even trying the next step?
Well, I would just say that what Abraham Lincoln says, that the best way to predict your future is to create it. भगवान ने भी कहीं कहीं लिख दिया है जैसे तुम्हारी मर्जी. So I'm a great believer in spirituality, and I also believe that a lot of things are destined, but कहीं ना कहीं ऊपर वाले ने भी लिख दिया है जैसी तुम्हारी मर्जी. तो जहाँ चाहा वहाँ रहा. तो कोशिश करते रहिए, and believe me, life can be very, very magical.
So before we sign off, thank you so much, Shivani, for this wonderful session. Thank you, Shyam Steel, for this wonderful initiative of FlexiSTRONG Talks, where we try and bring stories that will make your life healthy, wealthy, and happy. Thank you, viewers, for always standing by us. And before I sign off, like always, I say, मस्त रहें, स्वस्थ रहें और हमेशा हमेशा मुस्कुराते रहें. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.